Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and what may be the very highest level match I think I've ever seen in Beyond All Reason. Today, spawning on the left hand side is our Red Armada commander, a commander that will be heading this incredibly high level team, A459. All the way on the other side of the map, spawning as the blue team's commander, we have none other than Nizar. Now I want to take a second to look over here on the right hand side of the screen. You can see the lowest true skill on each of these teams. That's right, the lowest one is above 30 true skill. 32 for Chummers and 35 for 7511. This is an incredibly high level match. It's very rare that we get to see a match this well saturated by this many players that are of this high quality, all going to be facing off on a very exciting map. This is Coastlines Drive version 2.2.1. And it's one of the maps that tends to resolve quickly. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this match ends up opening up and closing rather fast because, well, first of all, we have pros that know how to shut things down really fast. And then, of course, we also have a very aggressive map where expanding and capturing metal extractors is the name of the game. I mean, that's the name of the game normally, but especially maps like this where there's not a whole lot of options for economic expansion other than to just push headfirst into the enemy. Thrilled to see exactly what we're going to go for here. This is a bit of a strange start. Okay, well, not sure exactly what we've gone for this, but Nizar has decided to go ahead and some sort of vote going on right there. Nizar has decided to go ahead and put the lab up on the high ground here and is going to walk the bots down. I suppose this keeps you protected from tanks, kind of. Yeah, I mean, tanks are going to have a harder time getting up this hill. Not sure what the strategic benefit of putting your production center up on that hill is. But maybe there's some magic that Nizar is going to show us here, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Commander being transported around here by I Will Conquer, going to capture some of these metal extractors. I actually just played a match recently where there was a tweak units enabled that made it so that only T2 transports could move commanders around. It was pretty interesting. I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, if we see some more of these commanders moving forward right now. Commander transporting has quickly become one of the most crucial fundamentals of Beyond All Reason. It was not a very popular strategy. It was not something we saw all too often. Just a little while ago, I mean, maybe a couple of weeks ago, it really was nothing, and then suddenly it sort of exploded, and if you're not playing with transports to move your commander around the map, you're sort of playing suboptimally. Pretty interesting stuff. That's one of the things that I love about Beyond All Reason, is the fact that because it's such a new game, it's such a young game, there's so much potential for growth and for change, and it means that we get to watch all these cool metas develop live, right? Eventually, I'm sure, years and years down the line, when we can fill stadiums with Beyond All Reason enjoyers, all riveted in the action watching the game. I'm sure that'll happen eventually, but years down the line, they'll be looking back at maybe some of these archived casts and wondering, my goodness, why on earth weren't they, you know, building tons of thugs and then grunts or something? They'll have all these strategies that make no sense to us now, but of course, at the time being, they certainly will. Here's Rompy transporting around over here as well. There's also a scout plane in the air right now for Angry Strawberry. She's going to be going ahead and scouting around the map right here, looking for some kind of an opportunity. We have Little Worm pushing forward on the southern side, going to be discovered by some of the scout crafts over here, as well as Rompy. My goodness. Usually in some of the matches I've seen, it's sort of one player will be good enough to manage all the transports flying around right now, but this is just chaos. So many commanders everywhere flying all over the place. We do have Lost Deadman as well going to be playing in this match, pushing up towards Shoddy right here, who is actually getting surrounded by a bunch of grunts. You do have to be careful about that. Grunts don't do the most amount of damage just on their own, but yeah, when in groups like this, you can see Shoddy already down to about 50% HP. Yeah, gonna hurt. Certainly low enough that Lost Deadman might feel comfortable challenging that. JTL going to be walking forward right here as well. I Will Conquer sending the commander forward here as well. That's a strategy I've seen recently too, is using the commander for the air player to actually boost some of your early players, right? You send the commander to their lab and start pumping out tons and tons of units. Pretty cool strategy. Works pretty well. So quick to the aggression right here. Feels like we've skipped all the way past the early game directly into kind of the mid game here. We're still on D1, but it feels like we're so aggressive across the map right now. Wonderful stuff all over the place. Nizar is clashing up here on the northern side. Doesn't have any units to reinforce though. Yeah, thinking about pulling that commander back with the transport. We have a heavy contest right here from Lost Deadman. Narnuk is going to be flying in as well to try and deal with all this. We have Chummers and Skag both setting up their lines on the southern side. Probably the most normal looking engagement, quote unquote normal looking engagement on the southern side that we've seen so far. Nice fighter trade right there from Strawberry, keeping those fighters up in the air to make sure that we can try and snipe down any commanders that we see flying around. Yeah, Strawberry's looking around for those commanders. She wants desperately to shoot them down out of the air. That's always a huge metal deposit on the battlefield, so it's almost always worth trying to see if maybe you could pull it off. I believe it takes 3 shots for a T1 fighter to bring down a transport, so typically flying around 3 fighters is going to be ideal. Expensive, but ideal. Northern side starting to shape up over here. Ooh, we do have a commander death right here, though. Shoddy, who was very low on HP, did manage to build enough units, reinforced his army, and eventually pushed into the forces of Lost Deadman. That's going to be a lot of metal deposited to the front lines right here. Hopefully Narnut can get his hands on it, or at the very least D-gun it down before Shoddy can, in hopes that the blue team can recover here. We already have a Resbot eating up a whole bunch of that wreckage. There we go. D-gun saves about 1,000 of that metal from going back to the Maroon Commander. I think it's the best you can make of a very bad situation right there in the center of the map, at least for the time being. Shoddy's got to be... for the time being, Shoddy has got to be pretty happy about the way that that went out. Commander over here on the left side is also blasted to smithereens right here. A little bit of a trade going down. The Hug of Death. Run by over here. Shoddy pinging viciously. And these units are jumping on top of a whole bunch of Rocketeers over here. Decent connections, actually. Rocketeers do a little bit of splash damage. It's enough to bring down pawns, grunts, that sort of thing. Beamer turret just about finished right now. Oh, just barely not going to finish. Oh, please put it back up and running. We do have Resbots and Commanders eating up these wrecks right here. So at the very least, tons of that metal is going to be going back over in this direction. Strawberry herself flying the Commander forward, making sure to utilize that Commander wherever possible. I do see a Tsar rush happening on the northern side as well. We've gone for a full-blown T2 facility, and we are going to eventually go ahead and get a, get a Tsar up and running up there. Shuriken coming in right here. Air player cries out the red commander, realizing that Strawberry has transported the commander forward here, trying to save the day. Unfortunately, Strawberry is pushed offline right now. These Rocketeers, rocket spiders, everything is coming out right now. Yeah, Strawberry wants some of that metal. Oh, might be too greedy. Yeah, decides to D-gun him back off. Ooh, commander in supreme danger. Just barely, that commander does survive. Big old drop over here, by the way. Nazah has transported into the backline. Nazah now D-gunning down the orange facility right here, shutting down all of the production and all of the, well, everything. Orange commander has also fallen to the army of the blue commander as well over here, and Nazah isn't quite done yet. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Gunslinger being transported down on the southern side, but Nazah has taken down another facility over on the southern side. Transports are flying around right now, trying to scour up any units that they can to shuttle these bases down. Nazah making sure to D-gun down those metal extractors, shutting down this base. This is critical damage right here from the blue commander, and he's gonna get away with it too. Fighters eventually shutting down that commander, but my goodness, well more than the cost of the commander in damage done over here on the northern side of the map, and the entire northern side is also opened up over here. I believe that Tsar, did it ever finish? There it is. Yeah, Tsar tank did finish. Not that it's going to be too necessary now, but there we go. The icing on the tank is that heavy T2 Cortex AoE clearing tank, I guess is the way I want to describe that. Strawberry transporting around over on this side, keeping the fighters up in the air, making sure to keep that commander well covered from any fighter harassment. Always easier said than done, of course. So many things to manage in Beyond All Reason, and there's only so much APM to spare. Big old aggravator fight on the southern side. That northern side is collapsing quickly, though. Collapsing very, very quickly. Southern side is looking pretty good. This gunslinger has done a lot to push back these forces over here. It has to be microed constantly, which is the commitment that you make to the gunslinger, let alone the 650 metal, the 11,000 energy. It also is a supreme APM investment, and down it goes just like that to a bunch of pawns running forward. That is the ultimate risk of the gunslinger. If you can manage to level it up, if you can manage to get it into 10, 11, 12 fights, get it all experienced and combat worthy, then it can be a devastating force on the front. But so much APM investment to do that, I really don't know if it's worth it. One of the few units in this game that has an extremely APM heavy cost. There are some units in this game like that kind of need a little bit more micro in order to be better. You could argue that every unit is better under a little bit more micro than usual, but certainly the gunslinger benefits way, way more than a lot of other things do. T2 constructors flying around all over the place. Grunts running into the backline. Gonna find a whole bunch of wind turbines that are still available and still pushing forward right now. Still gonna be a threat to these early T2 units that are coming out here, yeah. I mean, Salamander doing a great job of providing vision right here and also being just a tanking force, soaking up some of those frontliner shots and allowing for that Tsar to continue rolling forward, causing rampant destruction through the northern side of the map right here. Southern side needs to win right now or right never. Gunslinger will be paralyzed right there by a couple of those shurikens. Just brutal. Shuriken's so easy to get value with. Really, really lovely stuff. 7511 trying desperately to hold the middle of the line right here. Trying to keep it all together. Blossom up in the air, trying to protect her teammates from any further incursion of devastating effect, i.e. commanders and transport planes, but it looks like the blue team has already swept across the northern side, and with not enough T2 reinforcements coming out right here, not enough attention diverted to the northern side, slowly but surely the red team is knocked out of this game, one by one, forced to resign by those flak truck czar salamander combos marching towards the bases. The hero flame turret though will bring down the czar. That is the second time that we've seen, I guess the other time was it a mammoth or a sumo, some other heavy unit. If I had a nickel for every time a heavy unit was brought down by a flame turret, I'd have 2 nickels. It's not a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. There you go, though. Flame turrets, that's a little Phineas and Ferb reference right there. Boy, been a while since I've thought about that show, but anyways. JTL pushing forward right here. Wow, both commanders will actually go down over here. That's not too bad, but a little too late as suddenly the grunts have gotten into the backline. They're starting to blast down the T2 lab. They're on the metal extractor and they're on the hound. They're making sure to put that damage out into useful places, distributing it across the map, and we do have constructors moving forward as well. Always important that you're capturing your enemy's metal extractors, and it's exactly for that reason that the green commander, JTL, has control over the entire northern section, can afford to produce those T2 units, and indeed, it will be an overwhelming victory here from the blue team with a brilliant play from Nazah up on the northern side, degunning down multiple bases with the commander, and the overwhelming aggression elsewhere on the map, continually whittling down the forces in red. My goodness, these guys play a quick game, huh? We got all the way up to late T2, or late mid-game, in just under 12 minutes. So impressive. Love to watch this quality of gameplay. Let me know what you think about it down below. I know I usually showcase longer matches, and this was definitely a quick one, but I'm so excited to show what the pros are up to. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason.